Falcon 9 lands at sea after deploying 27 Starlink satellites on March 26. SpaceX expands its Starlink constellation with another successful launch from California. California, March 26, 2025. In yet another demonstration of its dominance in commercial spaceflight, SpaceX successfully launched a Falcon 9 rocket carrying 27 Starlink satellites into orbit from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California at 10:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on March 26. The mission, aimed at expanding the company's global broadband internet network, was completed with a pinpoint landing of the rocket's first-stage booster on the autonomous drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, stationed in the Pacific Ocean. This latest launch is part of SpaceX's ongoing plan to deploy thousands of Starlink satellites, which are designed to provide high-speed, low-latency internet to underserved and remote regions around the world. The successful deployment of these satellites further strengthens SpaceX's vision of a fully interconnected world, where internet access is no longer limited by geography or infrastructure. A nighttime launch, Falcon 9 roars into the California sky. At precisely 10:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time, the Falcon 9 rocket ignited its powerful Merlin engines, sending a column of fire and smoke billowing into the night sky. The 9 Merlin engines at the base of the first stage generated 1.7 million pounds of thrust, propelling the vehicle skyward. Observers near Vandenberg Space Force Base and across California were treated to a stunning light display, as the Falcon 9 soared upward and reached Max Q, the point of maximum aerodynamic pressure, approximately 1 minute after liftoff. As it climbed, the rocket followed a precise trajectory designed to deploy its payload in low Earth orbit, LEO, at approximately 550 kilometers, 342 miles, above the Earth's surface. First stage separation and re-entry, a milestone in reusability. Roughly 2 minutes and 40 seconds after liftoff, the Falcon 9's first and second stages separated, marking a critical moment in the mission. While the upper stage continued its journey to deliver the 27 Starlink satellites, the first stage began its controlled descent back to Earth. To ensure a safe return and precise landing, the booster performed a series of engine burns and aerodynamic maneuvers. Boost back burn adjusted the rocket's trajectory to direct it toward the drone ship. Entry burn used 3 Merlin engines to slow down the booster, reducing heat and stress during re-entry. Landing burn, one final burn with a single Merlin engine ensured a soft, controlled touchdown. The booster deployed 4 titanium grid fins, which provided stability and allowed it to steer through Earth's atmosphere. At approximately 8 minutes and 30 seconds after launch, the booster successfully landed on Of Course I Still Love You, stationed hundreds of miles off the California coast. This marked another major success for SpaceX's reusability program, proving once again that rockets can be flown multiple times, dramatically reducing the cost of spaceflight. Why this landing matters: SpaceX's reusability breakthrough. SpaceX has perfected the art of landing and reusing rockets, a technology that has revolutionized the aerospace industry. Traditionally, rockets were single-use, meaning each mission required building an entirely new vehicle, a high-cost and wasteful approach. However, SpaceX's Falcon 9 first stages are designed for multiple reflights, with some boosters having been launched more than 20 times. This reusability model is what allows SpaceX to launch frequently and at lower costs than any other aerospace company. By successfully landing this booster, SpaceX can inspect, refurbish, and reuse it for future missions, reducing costs. Maintain a rapid launch cadence, supporting Starlink's fast-growing network. Continue to innovate toward fully reusable spaceflight, which will be crucial for missions to the Moon and Mars. Starlink satellite deployment, strengthening the global internet network. Once the Falcon 9's second stage reached its targeted orbit, the 27 Starlink satellites were deployed in a carefully timed sequence. Each satellite gently drifted away from the payload stack, beginning its initial orbital insertion phase. Over the next few weeks, the satellites will adjust their positions using onboard ion thrusters, slowly raising their orbits to join the rest of the Starlink constellation. What makes Starlink unique? Unlike traditional satellite internet, which relies on a few large satellites in geostationary orbit, 35,786 kilometers above Earth. Starlink uses thousands of small satellites in low Earth orbit, LEO, providing lower latency. Because Starlink satellites are closer to Earth, they reduce signal travel time, offering a faster, fiber-like internet experience. Higher speeds, users can experience download speeds up to 300 megabits per second, even in remote areas. Global coverage, as more satellites are launched, dead zones will disappear, ensuring internet access anywhere on the planet. The bigger picture, SpaceX's vision for the future. Upcoming Starlink expansions. SpaceX has aggressive plans for Starlink, including launching thousands more satellites, ensuring complete global coverage. Introducing Starlink V2 satellites, which will be larger and more powerful, with the ability to communicate directly with smartphones. Improving laser inter-satellite links, allowing data to travel even faster than fiber optics by bouncing signals between satellites instead of ground stations. What's next for SpaceX? Beyond Starlink, SpaceX is preparing for several groundbreaking missions, including Starship's next test flight. The fully reusable Starship rocket, which will eventually replace Falcon 9, is being tested for future missions to Mars, the Moon, and beyond. NASA's Artemis program. SpaceX is playing a key role in returning humans to the Moon, with Starship being developed as the lunar lander for Artemis 3. Commercial crewed missions. SpaceX is scheduled to send more astronauts to the ISS under NASA's Commercial Crew program. Conclusion: a major step forward in spaceflight and global connectivity. The March 26 launch of Falcon 9 and 27 Starlink satellites marks another milestone in SpaceX's relentless pursuit of space innovation. For Earth, Starlink is changing lives, bringing high-speed internet to millions who previously had limited or no access. For space, Falcon 9's reusability breakthroughs are making spaceflight cheaper, more efficient, and more frequent. For the future, SpaceX is paving the way for interplanetary travel, working toward its ultimate goal, making humanity a multiplanetary species. With more launches ahead, the future of spaceflight has never looked more exciting.